meeting of the Grafton Cable TV Oversight Committee, Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. to order. It's a hybrid meeting, but there's no participants on Zoom, so we don't have to do a roll call or any of that. All right, public input. There seems to be no public input that can come from, well, I'm chair, that can come from members too. And it's actually a very handy little tool sometimes for, but okay. Annual report. There was just, we were just talking about that, weren't we? This has been worked over at great length, and I think it's fine.
Well, there were some changes she wanted to.
Yeah, no, the most recently revised and improved and whatever all.
So I want to start by thanking Corson for taking the time to put this all together. It started at 16 pages.
Yeah.
I believe it's down to about 4.5 now, which is great.
4.
About
I have
4.
it down as 4.
Okay.
Because it got trimmed maybe a little bit. They have some parameters that the town has to have. That
Yeah.
it must be all bold
Yeah.
at the top with the specific wording, and centered, and the rest of it has to be what's the font?
I saw this back from-
Arial 14 or something, and all has to be right justified.
Okay.
So certain criteria that kind of made it.
Except
And I
none of this is right justified.
No, my version is not. If that's
That's all
but
right.
Corson's version
and the other thing
appeared to be.
that I thought would help condense it more is basically having the wording start right after that, so that it basically reduces it smaller still.
That version didn't come out that way for me, but
That's all right. But I mean, I can still make those
Yeah.
shades. Those are just physical things. The thing which in terms of going to the report, I know that there was a lot of work associated with the upgrades and so forth. What I was trying to emphasize more in the report was of what we're actually trying to achieve over the course of the year. And basically what we've done in the committee for the most part has been about the upgrades and other types of changes that we're wanting to implement, which are still underway. But also, I wanted to emphasize the significance of what we end up producing as a result of having that. And that's why I went through, I guess, at least 2 pages of all the different things that have happened with the studio. And I of course I used a lot of that from what Bob had contributed as far as that, and again trying to condense it down, try to organize it, homogenize it as to the data. But it basically says, wow, this is all that's been happening. I just never knew that it was that extensive of things that are going on, rather than simply just saying, you've got a studio, and yeah, we're doing a few things. And I just wanted to promote it, as it were, to speak of. And at the end, where I mentioned about the fact that we're trying to promote things further, I just thought that might be another way of getting people to catch on and say, well, I've got some ideas. And, if they're reading the report, you might want to contribute to it.
Yep.
I didn't read yours yet, so.
So mine is yours, but parsed down. So it's all of the things we've been working on: Wi-Fi in the park, the module desk, the committee charge, the PSA with the ASL, and it's just a little bit more boiled down. I think there was a little bit too much detail
Of all this
included.
stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, like all the things we did, I don't think any of that needs to be in there. People watching GCTV see it. I don't think that necessarily needs, this is in my opinion, obviously. I don't think it needs to be in the report. I think the report is supposed to, capture what we did, but in more of like a, not like minutes kind of a way. Those kind of remind me of minutes and that level of detail, and that I'm not looking, I don't know if we need that level of detail
Well, I did try to condense this stuff as well from
Agreed,
the
we
other.
started at 16, so no doubt there was some work put
Of course.
into it.
Yes,
Do you object to what she put in?
no,
Do we need to spend another half hour?
no, no. No, I was just,
explaining.
I just
Th-
was,
This is where probably more people than any, how many people do read these, of course, in the annual report, but at least it goes out, and I've always thought, okay, this is a place where people around the town can get an idea of what access is and the committee is. As long as we get that done reasonably, I think we're there.
okay,
So
What do
the
you
only
think?
thing I would want to double check on this, obviously before we vote to send this, is I'd wanna double check that 70,000 for the room upgrades and include which town meeting, which that's information readily available, just to triple check that that's right, and then the treasurer report numbers, triple check those are right before we send this off, but other than checking the numbers, I like the, bare bones version.
yeah, see, these numbers, I pulled off of something we had before as
Yeah.
far as reported, but I don't really have the reports to actually go back to and can verify, and that's what I was hoping you could.
So obviously I joined halfway through the year, so I'm
Okay.
only gonna be, but I can go to Mary and make sure that.
Double check.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yep,
That's all. So I feel more comfortable about that. Yes, Bob?
yep.
If you're tapering down, I'd accept a motion to approve these with the checks that you're speaking of, and that you'll, once you've checked it,
Submit
give it to whomever it is that
Cindy,
you
yeah.
give it to.
Okay.
Cindy or whoever.
So moved.
All right.
How about a second?
I second it.
Moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously.
Alright,
Brings us to,
Minutes.
why don't we, I think the others, everything else here can go quickly and not have them have it out there at quarter of, but we should get there. Minutes review and approval. Anybody have any issues with the draft minutes from, I think there are 2 meetings, right? 2 meetings?
Well, I brought both of the Decembers and Novembers.
Yeah.
if you wanna make a motion, I just don't have the dates in front of me.
You don't have what?
I just don't have the dates if you wanna make a motion for,
Yeah,
yeah, November 18th and December 16th.
December 16th. Yes. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as I've written
For,
for November 18th meeting and December 16th meeting of 2024.
I second the motion.
moved and seconded, is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. Bills, did we see bills? I think we saw bills.
Yep. I went through
Any comments or inputs?
No,
it. Yeah, I don't see
Alright.
nothing out of it.
Treasurer's report,
I do not have an updated treasurer's report.
access activity report. Did we look through it?
Yep.
And anything there that anybody wants to deal with?
Nope, looks good to me.
No. Well, let's do the next meeting date.
Want to have another one in February?
After tonight, I'm not sure when we need a meeting. We're liking, Wednesdays. Is that true?
Yep.
Yep, I have no problem with Wednesdays.
Like, and, which Wednesday, did we have one of the, the third or the second of the month,
Yep.
Mhm.
which,
February 19th, you mean? Or,
well, do we need another meeting that soon?
I'm just asking.
Do you know how many agendas?
No.
I've sent out this time.
Oh, boy. I
Is that
totally-
rhetorical, or?
Hmm?
Is that rhetorical, or do you want an answer?
Well, no one cares what I want.
I do.
Oh,
I do care.
We can do one on the
39 years.
On the 26th if you want.
What's that?
We can do one on the 26th of February.
Yeah, well, I keep hearing this. That might be tricky. Linda may have something. We only have one car now. I think she's not gonna do it, but she may have something on the 26th.
Oh, we can do the
I can do the
26th.
nineteenth, you know, I could do the 19th if, this is the 4th.
I know where my uncle's house is, so.
Yes.
You needed me to pick somebody up there at that address. By the way, he passed away. He died.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, he was good bit older than
He was like
even I am, so.
96, I think it was.
Hmm?
I think it was like 96.
Was he
Oh,
still in Alaska? I think.
No, he was in Huntington,
Hmm?
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, I thought I came across him at one time.
Yeah.
Alaska.
Well, not to
Yeah.
get distracted.
Yeah, anyway, 16th, do we really, gluttons for punishment, that's February.
February what?
Well, I'm okay with the 19th.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I Zoom at 4:00, should be done by 6, so I can get here by 7.
Can I just ask what the agenda would look like?
I have no idea.
Cause we just did bills, we just
Yeah,
did the
yeah,
access
I-
report.
My thing is, if they do this, I don't know what to put on an agenda. Public input,
So do we-
adjourn.
Do we wanna wait till after the meeting and then we can send an email? You can send an email out.
Or,
So, are you asking to just have a special meeting with one agenda item to discuss the results of
no,
tonight's
I'm
meeting?
saying, what business, you know, until somebody sends me something to put on an agenda that fits
Yeah.
this, what's the,
Okay, so
why
let's,
do we meet?
well, you're the one asking to set the next meeting date, so that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, yes,
Wanna go till the end of March, the end of May?
well, I was thinking March,
Okay,
oh,
March.
maybe the 12th. I've got nothing on the 12th, why don't I just?
March 12th, okay.
Hmm?
March 12th.
March 12th. If something comes along, we can always
Yeah.
email and
Set another
March.
date.
March 12th at 7 here.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
March 12th
Is it-
it is.
it's agreed. Maybe you wanna vote. Someone wanna move, we meet at March 12th at 7?
I don't think we need
Here.
a motion for that.
Okay. You know, you never know, you might get in trouble.
We're fine.
So, let me put this in. Right. March 12th, which is, whatever. Okay, good. All right, that brings us back to the charge. The selectmen are gonna be discussing this tonight and perhaps adopting it. They invited us to come. What does anybody think about that?
Well, again, I was looking to see what sort of fiscal responsibility we have
None.
as it's written. At to say basically what oversight there is to it.
It isn't, it's, didn't you notice they're changing the name?
I know, yeah.
Cable Advisory. Why don't I read through the points? Mission, well, let me see, membership, we know. Mission and general goals, to review and be familiar with the broad terms of the cable licensing agreement between the select board and the franchisee. And of course, we have plural, it should be plural. Because we have two franchisees, or two licensees, actually. To advise the select board during the negotiations for successor licensing agreements and to help ensure compliance with renewal requirements. Yes,
Yeah, I agree with both of those points so far. I agree with both of those points so far.
good. Receive and evaluate citizen complaints, concerns, and suggestions specifically concerning cable service, compliance with the agreement, and other aspects of cable service. I agree with that, and that has been, we haven't had very much input for a long time, but every once in a while, someone posts something on social media, and I have been known to put a, complain to the cable committee. And we'll see, because there are, we can recommend a pushback through the select board at the companies if there are problems. There have been things like not providing service at certain locations. One of the things in the original license was to serve everybody. At least, I don't know whether they even, any place the telephone poles go, pretty much. And every once in a while, someone comes up with, one of the companies won't give them service, and so I keep an eye on that. But that's okay. I don't think we need to schedule a monthly meeting anticipating the input of stuff for that. We'll, if we get input, then we'll be able to take it up. To submit an annual report of activities to be included in the annual town report. I'm not sure where we're gonna get that information other than
Right.
the committee's own activity.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, the committee's activities.
Well,
What activity
in
are we
the-
gonna have?
Here you've got all the activity.
Yep.
So, committee activity. We met, we talked, we went home. Now, this one, to conduct an annual public hearing to review the performance of the PEG access provider. Bob DeTona is in charge of the PEG access provider. Historically, this was, well, it's been a long time since we had one, but we have at least once or twice had public hearings where people could come and talk about the performance of the cable companies.
That's how I take this, is
Yeah,
the
but
PEG
the
access.
PEG provider is the wrong term.
I thought Datoma was the PEG access coordinator, and the PEG access provider are the companies.
I don't think so. I think it should be the licensees.
Sure, but to achieve that, for an annual public hearing, for people to come in to talk about the two providers.
Yep, the providers have no control over the content, they only provide the channel itself for us.
Yeah, no,
But
no, I'm changing it from
Nothing says
PEG,
content.
I'm changing it from, or, we're talking about changing it
Okay.
from PEG access provider to licensees.
Okay,
And I think it's about the performance, so, you know, were you able to watch town meeting, or did you have no sound, or, you know, just so that we can give them feedback, right?
No, this is, invite the people of the town in to tell us whether they're getting good cable service.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, you were talking about access, talking about seeing a meeting. Most people spend about 98% of their time watching something better than our meetings. And that's what they pay the cable company for. In any case, unless you wanna get into the operation of access, I think just, you know, the thing I think is intended here is licensees. You know, how are they getting their job done? There were times when there might have been a little more crossover, because access depended very directly on things that the cable companies did, providing connection from the conference room up to the head end and some of that stuff. I don't know. Up to you guys. Or, anyway, we have to find out what they think they mean. I think they mean what.
Did
what
you
they're
watch
saying.
the meeting where they discussed this?
Yeah, I watched the YouTube playback.
Yeah. So this is based off what a lot of communities in Massachusetts, they took other communities' language and they formulated it. So we're coming in line with what a lot of communities in Massachusetts are doing.
Yeah, but it's the wrong term.
I'm not trying to debate you on
Yeah,
that term, that's
and
fine.
Yeah.
But as far as reviewing the licenses, preparing, like, I don't know, when's our next negotiation? What's the date on that?
We'll have to find out.
But as I'm saying, none of us know, so I think that gives us focus and really something to talk about and review. And if we meet quarterly to do that, great, but that's something that, you know, we haven't been doing, so I think that's a good thing to be
Yeah,
doing.
well, Bob DeToma has been in charge of the negotiations for licensing and most of this, along with our attorney, for
The longest.
the last 2-3 renewals of each side. Before that, I led a subcommittee, more or less, about 2 of us, and did that. So I don't know, well, I think the point is we wanna talk to them about it and be sure that the language here matches what they're thinking about.
So what I'm reading is for us to be familiar with the licenses agreement and to advise the select board during negotiations. So it doesn't necessarily say that we even are negotiating, that's not what this is even saying, it's just saying that we need to be familiar with them, which we currently are not, and to provide, updates to the select board, which, you know, it doesn't sound like we've been doing,
You know,
so.
well, I don't know what that role, you know, but that's where not having been involved in the last 2 or 3, I don't remember the dates for when they expire.
No, but it's great, cause that gives this committee
Yeah,
something to do, that's a good thing.
You know, yeah. And to perform such other duties related to cable service as the select board may from time to time request. That's other duties as assigned. That sounds familiar from the Army.
It's very ambiguous.
Yeah, it's intended that to be that way.
Yeah, well, but, yeah. And to continue to investigate and to advise the select board on new technologies.
But that's something we've been doing, I know you were looking for the hearing, upgrades, and that's, we have our pulse on that, so, you know, as that becomes updated and available, that seems like something we're,
But Bob Toma, basically, again, he handled that. You know, he basically pointed out the fact that, you know, they have something in place, and for a little bit more money, they could upgrade it and so forth. So he's the one that's been following up on that part of it without our involvement.
I thought it was Bob Hassinger that brought the Bluetooth.
He did.
Yeah.
He
So
did.
what are
We
you
brought-
saying?
We did. We were making a discussion, saying this is something we should probably do. We brought it to Bob Toma, and he says, already got it handled, you know, like that, and I've already got some idea where we can improve it, you know, and so in other words, he already had
But that's
taken
what
upon
we
himself.
did. No, we investigated new technologies and we advised. That's all our role would be. Hey, we found this, we advised on it, and then it's hands off at that point. We did our role.
Okay.
You know, we could follow up on it, you know, but just continue as new technology, which will always keep coming available. We investigate it, we advise.
Yeah, I keep my ears open, and when I keep my hearing aids open, when we get there, when we get someplace where I think there's something to bring up, I'll bring it up.
Mhm.
I don't think, well, there'll be nearly as much active awareness, active interaction.
Not like it used to be.
There isn't as much as there used to be anyway, like around other towns and so on, what's going on. We don't get a huge amount of input. We used to have a group of towns that met, people from all around the different towns, met every month, and in different studios, and saw what they were doing and all of that. I think that's fizzled down, maybe because the number one guy has gotten old.
The way I see this is that that we, for the most part, as we were growing, we were trying to take advantage of everything we could financially, and we were always trying to think ahead of trying to get the best for the most amount of money, and for the least amount of money as well. So we were very frugal when it came to shopping, and we also tried to think ahead when we're buying this piece of equipment as to what might integrate with it and so forth to build off of it. And a lot of other towns, they didn't do that. They basically saw, oh, that's kind of good, we really should have that, and they get that and find out it didn't really integrate with something else, and they had a lot of mishmash of stuff, and it didn't integrate very well. We were one of the very few towns, and Bill August, our town attorney, will tell you how shrewd we were at making sure we were able to maintain that 5% for income. And none of the other towns were able to get it, but we did. We were able to keep it and maintain it. And it was one of these things where the other towns saw it to us as being an example to follow in terms of what we were doing, because we were so good at what we were doing. What it's come down to now is the select board is basically saying all the other towns in the area, we're going to make you more like them.
But didn't you just say you haven't been involved in the last several negotiations? So how's that 5% story relevant?
Because we did get information from Bill August, reports from him as to some of the progress that was going on, because he was handling all of the legalities of the licenses and so forth.
I'm just gonna recommend it. I totally think that that's great that did happen, but it hasn't happened in how long? Like when was that?
Since the most recent license.
But you guys
Still maintained
just said you weren't, this committee wasn't part of that negotiation.
We weren't, but we were informed of the results of
Actually,
it.
two members.
But that's what this says,
Two
that we
members
will-
of this committee.
We would still be informed.
Two members of this committee, Bob DeToma, who happened to be a member of the committee, and I've forgotten, yeah, a lot of the time.
But was he
Berg,
on?
Berg, I
He
thought
was.
But
involved.
were they
He
doing
was
that
a voting,
as
he was a voting member of the
But
committee.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But was he part of that negotiation in his capacity as a committee member, or as his capacity as the department head?
Committee members.
Are you sure about
He
that?
wasn't
as-
the town
as,
manager at the time, he was
But
still
as a
on, but-
town administrator who appointed him, he didn't say.
Okay, I'm just going off of what was previously said. So
Right.
previously in this meeting, it has been said that the last few negotiations this committee wasn't involved in. But now I'm hearing the last few negotiations this committee was involved in.
Not in the same way.
Okay, but you guys are saying different things, and I don't know which one's accurate.
All right.
Well, and how much difference does it make?
Well, I think it makes a big difference, because if we're going into the select board and these stories are gonna come up, are they relevant or are they not relevant?
Bob Toma, as far as our vision understood it to be in terms of timeline, he was on the committee. He was even the chairman. And he was appointed, by the committee to oversee the negotiations and so
No.
forth for the licensing.
No,
I thought
the
it was.
town administrator did that.
Well, then what did Bob do?
Town administrator appointed him,
Oh, okay.
and I think one of our other members varied, I think it varied a little bit.
As Bob was recognized as being the cable studio department head, which we didn't understand there was such a title as such, that's a new incarnation that's happened in your timeline here. So,
So that's the other thing. I knew he was a department head before I got on this committee. So I
We
think,
didn't.
I understand that's new so I don't know how that's possible, but that's not what we're discussing right now, right? That's not part
no,
of the charge.
but what I'm trying to point out is that he acted upon the support of this committee to be involved in the licensing. He wasn't acting on behalf of a department head for the studio.
So that was your understanding, but it's possible he was acting as the department head PEG access coordinator. Because you didn't know that role existed, so you might have viewed it as the committee member when you were unaware that this other role existed. Is that possible?
It could be possible, but at the same time, that you think that we would be made aware of those things
Well,
in that process.
Are we getting somewhere?
No, it-
Where is it you're trying to go? I don't understand.
I'm trying to get to the end of the agenda, and we've read through all of these items
In the essence
and
of
shared a few
time,
thoughts.
may I, which ones are the ones that we're gonna be asking questions out of all
Well,
these?
I'm gonna ask about the PEG access provider.
Okay, I wanna make sure that we know what. you
Right,
know.
because we're right now, we can't even get through the topic, so we're all gonna get up there and we're all just gonna say our individual piece, or?
I don't know what they want. They want us to join them. They don't.
Right, but the sticky point right now is the PEG access
Well,
line
I
item.
just wanna, that's, I wouldn't pick that language, and I wanna point out.
But if they change that to the language that you, if they change the PEG access language to something you prefer, you're okay with the rest of it?
No,
Okay, what else are you not okay with?
what they're taking away from the Oversight Committee.
Right.
And, it just,
All the monetary stuff is gone.
Okay. Do you see a benefit in what they've added? Because I certainly do. I've never seen our licensing agreement on my time here. I think that'd be a great thing to focus on. When you said you didn't even know what to put on the agenda next month, that's a perfect thing to put on the agenda next month and get us it gets us cracking and in a direction, so.
I agree, cause I haven't seen anything since I've been here, we've been talking about it, but I haven't seen any agreements that, we haven't been part of any, we haven't seen any negotiation that we could advise, if
It's
we don't
not-
see it, I can.
It's part of the
advise.
older minutes and so forth
Yeah.
on the committee, as well as other supporting
I
documents.
thought an earlier version of this may have had something about improving or enhancing or, whatever.
It says,
Peg
report to
access.
the old version I have it in front of me, report to the select board on company compliance with the licenses, supervise the company's response to complaints. So it doesn't really say anything about what this new one says.
And that's something that, as far as I know, that our committee hasn't done that at all.
No, we haven't, and I apologize if I'm being too loud, I'm trying to
Yeah,
accommodate,
in the essence of time.
Yeah.
I don't wanna burn the time, so I wanna make sure that we know what we want to ask. So you're gonna take the lead, Mr. Chairman, as far as asking the questions that you have issues with?
Oh, I think I can pick up on that and do a little bit with the rest of it, but you've gotta, if you wanna say something, you're gonna say something.
I'm pretty much in agreement with what they say. I don't see a problem, but, I don't have that much experience either, so.
I think I agree with Carl. I like the direction the select board's heading, and then, you know, this isn't the first time our charge has been changed this past year, so we give it a year doing it this way and come back to it a year from now if it's not working or amend it. You know, it was January 9th, 2024, our last charge was updated, and, you know, January 2025, we'll give this a whirl, and we can always amend it January 2026.
I don't recall that I don't recall that up until now, the charge that's in effect was really that different. Or, I could be wrong.
You want to
When this first came up, they did, okay, we'll continue on with the one that we had on the website, but until we have time to think about it. Then they thought about it, but I'm not sure exactly how it changed. Doesn't matter.
There's also, the name is changing also, I just noticed.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's where the financial part gets taken out. We become advisory only instead of oversight. Oh, I need that back. That was my copy. I was just letting you look at it.
This,
Yep.
anybody have more? Okay, we're down to the last item. Which everyone says you can declare if you're in adjournment.
I've seen that happen, yes, but I can motion if you'd like. Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Yeah, that's not debatable.
Nope.
It's an easy one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously.
At 6:38.